Hello, everyone. Welcome you all to this session, upskilling session for the UiPath Agent Hack India Student Edition. Many of you are coming here for the second time. You have attended previous session by Krishna, but for those of you who are joining session by Krishna for the first time, a brief introduction about Krishna. Mudhu Krishna Lalapet is a three-time UiPath MVP and also a UiPath AI Hackathon runner-up. He's a certified UiPath trainer and an expert in process analysis, design, and implementation. With a proven track record of leading cross-functional teams to deliver transformative solutions, he's here to share his insights. Krishna, over to you.
Thank you, Ghanshyam. And hello all. Hope you are doing well. I'll quickly share my screen. You can see my share, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So first of all, thank you for joining this session. If you joined in the previous one, I think you already know me. If not, I'll quickly introduce myself. Mudhu Krishna, and then I am a tech lead in L&T Technology Services. And then you can see these are my few of my achievements. And I'm last 3 times MVP of UiPath. So in the last session, let's have a quick overview of what we discussed in the last session. So we had a discussion of what is RPA, basically uh, steps that humans does, something a software robot which can mimic humans steps. And then how do you make a RPA, a standalone RPA, an intelligent RPA? You add AI to that. So we discussed about AI, and then how AI evolved to generative AI, and then we saw like a few in your life experiences of AI, and then we saw an example of a generative AI with a cake maker, and then few objectives, and then what are large language models, and then so some of you will widely used large language models, and then we started with an agent. So you have with an RPA and then AI, you have hands, and then if you assume a human body like this, you have hands. Let's say you give a brain to that human body, to a body, to a skeleton, that becomes a that brain part becomes an agent. So that will be a total skeleton. So we had these differences of what is agentic and then what is robotic, and then we also had a discussion like how the importance of RPA in agentic. It's not the future will not be completely agentic; it will be both agentic and robotic. So we had those discussions, and then we had a few overviews of components of an agent. So in this session, we'll mainly so in this session we'll mainly uh, uh, see a quick overview of what is an agent builder. How do we build agents in Agent Builder? What are different dashboard elements that are available in Agent Builder from UiPath? What are agent prompts and arguments? How do you pass an argument to an agent? What is tools section? How do you involve tools in your agentic automation part? What is content or what is context and agent memory? And then escalations. How do you escalate? How agent can escalate to human user when there is an issue. And then we'll have how do we evaluate your already built agent, and then how do you trace if there are any errors. And then at the end we can have a quick recap and then a Q&A session. So with that, I'll open Orchestrator. So initially, if you have Community Edition, you can see agents as new tab. You can quickly bookmark it, and then that will appear here. So opening it, so that will be your so this will be your initial view of Agent Builder. So let's say let's understand the dashboard elements that are available in Agent Builder. So firstly, home. So here you can see an overview of all the agents, how many times it ran, what are the agents you already built. If there are any issues with the agents, a quick dashboard. You can see live if an agent is running, you can see live agent running instance here. So this is like a overall view of your agents that are available. So that will be your home tab. And then here you can see, like, if you click on build your agent now, it will directly open UiPath Studio Web instance, and you can start building your agent. And then right side, you can see documents that are available. So let's say you want to know more about the agents part, or what are agents, what is agentic automation. You can click on the link, and then it will navigate to your path documents. And then here you can quickly have a look of what exactly means agent, what are agent mean, and then what is agentic automation totally means. So that's about the home tab. Next, the legacy agents. So if you are used the old agent builder, so you might already observe that the UI is completely different now when it is after released on after the general availability, the entire view got changed. So if you built an old agent, so those old agents will be shown here in here, legacy agents. What you can do, so you can already study here, like create new agents in Studio Web. You have to create the agents in Studio Web, and these agents can be edited only until June 14th, and later you will be migrated this. You have to migrate this. If you don't migrate before June 14th, this will be gone. So how do you migrate this? You can just open it and then click on migrate. It will open in Studio. That's about the legacy agents. If you have, I would prefer don't create new agent from here. Create an agent from Studio Web. So that's about the legacy agents tab. And then the agent instances. So let's say you have built your first agent in Studio Web, and then you published it. Now you want to know how many times the robot ran, how many agent units it consumed, how many platform units it consumed, and then in which folder it ran. Basically, if you are already aware of RPA, so you'll have something called UiPath Orchestrator, right? So if you deploy a process, let's say I have deployed this process, LinkedIn web scraping tool, and if I run this process, I need to know where it ran. Is it successful or failed? If it is failed, what is the issue? Like logs, all this information I need to know, right? So those information for an RPA process, those details will be available under jobs tab, right? So similarly, for agentic automation, you have agents that are running, right? So that live instance you can see here. If some agent has been invoked in some Studio Web workflow or something, so that instance you will see here. You can quickly open it and then see the logs there here itself. And then these are like quick dashboards, like how many live instances, I mean, are currently running now, and then how many instances completed. And then with this, you can apply filter like by start time or by creation time. So these are like the section where you can see the deployed agents and then monitor their performances. So that's for that purpose we use these agent instances. So you can here also you can change the time range. So if you keep last month, you will see all the instances that ran last month from last month. So that's about agent instances. Next, agent instance. Here, the instance is nothing but the failed agents. Let's call it failed agents. So like, let's say agent was not able to continue certain action that you decided to do. Let's say you gave a system prompt and then you gave a user prompt. With that system and user prompt, it was not able to carry out that action that you mentioned. So in that cases, it will be an error case, right? So that things you can monitor here under agent instances, and then you can see which agents are prone to most of the errors. By that, you can, let's say you have built a 20 or 25 agents, and then now you want to know what is the most failed agent. So that agent will, if you keep top 10, you'll see like top failed agents here in this dashboard section itself. And then you can quickly check that agent and then see if you can fix it, and then publish it back again. So that's about the agent instance page. And then here you can see the type and then how many times it ran and then the folder path, first seen and last seen. So that's about agent instance. Next, the indexes, right? If you remember in the last session, we discussed something called context grounding. So when, let's say, and let's take ChatGPT as an example. What does ChatGPT do? You type something and it'll hit a foundation LLM, and then that will be a generalized LLM. So if you ask what is weather, it'll reply to you for that weather question also. And then even if you give a different question, let's say completely opposite, like you want to summarize an article. So you give a text and then summarize, it will still do it. So what if you don't want to run your agent for general cases and then you want to run it for specific use case, right? So let's say you have in your college, you have assignments, and then these assignments has to be summarized, and then you have to summarize a whole article and then write an assignment on that. So this agent should do only these tasks, and then you have specific assignment templates which agent should follow. So how do you teach that agent, and how do you make it run only for your specific data? So that's where context learning comes into picture. So you need to create your own context, and then that's where you use indexes. So we have something called storage buckets in UiPath. If you are new to this, assume you have databases, and then you are storing data in the database, and then you want agent to study from that database. So these are like general terms which you already have in your college. So assume database as storage bucket, which is your folder. So this will be your database, and then you create a DB name. Let's say you have uh, supplier related information. So you create the name of database as supplier data, and then you put the specific supplier information of your process here. You upload it. So that will be the storage bucket part. And then now you created the storage bucket. Now you have to link this to your agent, right? So how do you do that? So that's when indexes comes into the picture. Let's go back. Indexes. You click on indexes, it will automatically open the tenant level indexes. And then here you can start creating an index. So these are my already created indexes. If let's say resume context, so you can quickly create index here and then use that index in your agent. So all indexes that we have used, and then how many of them are how many of these indexes are agent really used. So those related data you can see under indexes. This is not index page, this is agent instance page. If you click on indexes, it will go to the indexes of orchestrator. Okay. Next, the final one and an important one, the agent templates. I think most of you are new to agentic automation. So what I would recommend is, firstly, go through already available agent templates. So what are templates? Let's say you're building some new agent, but then you don't have an idea of how to build. So these are predefined templates which are specific to certain tasks. Let's say you have to do semantic matching. So there is a template already available for semantic matching. 1 second, I'll quickly open this. It'll navigate to marketplace. So marketplace is a place where you find the solutions. So this you can download this solution, and then you can upload that solution package to your playground, and then you can make use of already designed pre-built agent. So that's about agent templates. So you can find, so these are like some of the uh, already available agents. So you can have like web reader agent also, you can view it. You can quickly go through. So this is you can scroll down, and here you can study like what this template agent does. Like it's a web reader agent designed to address the challenge of extracting accurate and comprehensive answers. So you can go through this, and you can see the quickly features. So if your use case is already, so let's say your use case is article summarization, or something, you have text and then you're going to get information from that. So you can quickly come to the templates, and then you can see already available templates if you can make use of it. If you think like you already have that, you can download it, and then customize it according to your use case, and then that can be your use case. So these agent templates are that's how the agent templates are used for. So these are the main dashboard elements. Now let's start exploring the inside part of this each steps. Let's start with building your agent. So in simple words, let's say if you want to know like what is Agent Builder, it's a simple UiPath tool to build conversational task-oriented agents. And these are powered by LLMs and automations. And then why does it matter? Like, why do you use it? So these bridges the gap between humans and bots, and how? Through natural language, by providing agentic automation capabilities. So this is like, in general, if you want to know what is a agent, so agentic builder, so that's how you define it. So let's click on build your agent, and then this is where I came to, and this is UiPath Studio Web. Okay. So here you can already see, like, get started with Autopilot. If I type something here, like I want to build an agent that gets weather report. If I quickly enter the prompt and then click on generate agent, now I can see Autopilot is automatically creating an agent for me. We'll also see the manual creation, but let's see the capabilities of Autopilot. So you can see here the Autopilot. So Autopilot is something, it's an UiPath tool that is built over an LLM, which will answer your questions related to UiPath, or you can make it carry out actions that are available within UiPath architecture. This is like something like, call it as an agent that can work on UiPath orchestrator. So you can ask anything that is related to your orchestrator, and then it will carry out those actions. So here you can see it is already suggesting me. So for system prompt, so you can see it already built a system prompt. You can check, you can review it, and then that will come to here, and then you can click on, if you're okay with this prompt, you can accept it, and that will write the system prompt. And in a similar way, if you go to user prompt, quickly review suggestions, and then you can see, like, it is already suggesting, like, please provide a weather report for following location, and location is an input argument, right? So click on accept. So that will create a user prompt. And then for arguments, right? So here location is an argument. So if you want to know weather report, you need to know for which location you are asking for, right? So that's why location is an input argument. So you can see the schema definition is also created. You can quickly review it, and then it will come to the data manager of Studio Web. And then here you can see the location argument is already created. Quickly accept the sessions, and that will create. And if you want to be more effective, then you can also integrate a weather API for this. I think we don't need that. So that would be my Autopilot built agent. Now let's test it. So in your agent hack, meanwhile when it is running, so in your agent hack, always have a try to find a problem that is already there in the market or in your current situation, and then try to solve that problem. So that should be your use case. So don't I would suggest not to create a simple use cases like a weather report agent, or a newsreader agent. So these are direct, you can directly search weather in Google, right? So that's not a real problem. So your use case should be something that is solving the problem that is existing currently. So let's say, uh, in last session, I've explained about an invoice agent, right, which is a real problem. So you will have tons and tons of invoices which are completely unstructured. Now if you want to build something that extracts information from that invoices, that will be very hard. If you want to identify each structure and then build a extractor for that invoices, that will be a very big problem. So for that, agentic automation will be a very good example. So it can solve a lot of human hours. So your use case should be something like that. Okay. So let's click on test on cloud. Then for location, let's keep Bangalore. Then click on run. I can see the output. The robot is running. So it is calling LLM call, but one problem I had. You can quickly study the problem. Whether API tool is not available. So there are no tools, right? So what I did now, I gave a prompt, user system and then user prompt, but then I didn't tell the agent where to carry out that action. So I need to give an agent. I need to give a tool, right? So to the admin tool. So if I search in Google, I may get an answer for weather, right? So I'll try to include a web search. I'll explain like what I'm doing here. Just this is just to show you the auto-generated agent. So let's run again. I've included a tool to web search for that, right? Run them again. Right. So now you can see it searched, it did the web search, but still at the end you can see unable to retrieve specific other data for Bangalore. And why is this? That's because of my system prompt. So here I wrote, remember to maintain a helpful and friendly tone in your responses if you encounter any issues with weather API, so which I didn't use here. So weather API or cannot provide the requested information, explain the problem to the user and suggest alternatives if possible. So that's why still, since I'm using web search and then not an API here, that's why it is telling there is no API call happened. So you please check and then it's not able to unable to retrieve the specific weather data. You need to give an API call. So if I monitor this, if I change this prompt, let's say remove this. Update weather information from the request of the report. We should search in web using web search tool. I wrote this. Now let's try. Now you can see current weather. Current weather is 31 degrees. It is in Bangalore. Fahrenheit 87.8. Condition partly cloud. 59 10.4 northeasterly. So you can already see the complete forecast. So what I did. So as long when you the entire agent building part will completely depend on system how you give the system prompt and user prompt. So just a single line changed the output. You can already see it. So that's how you so that's why the prompting part is very important. So I'll let's so that's the autopilot part, like how you automatically generate uh, instead of building from scratch, you use autopilot to generate partial bot, partial agent, and then upon that you edit your you can customize according to yourself. So that's about the autopilot part. Now let's go back and then build an agent from the scratch. Build your agent now. So now it's my agent 4. We can quickly rename it. So instead of typing something and generate agent, you click on start fresh. So this is how your agent building part looks like. So let's understand few elements that are available here. Firstly, the file explorer. So you have different sections, a definition, evaluation sets, and evaluators. If you are aware of the previous legacy version, you would have seen these evaluation sets in a separate tabs. So these are nothing but so definition is where you define your robot. So what the robot has to do, what will user ask a robot, what is an agent has to do, what user asks an agent to do, so that will be user prompt, and then what tools it is to use when the task is getting carried out. So that part is tools, and then the database. If you have a specific database, how do you include that? That will be context and escalations. And once you have built that, you run it, right? So you want to test it for certain test cases. So in any software, testing part is common, right? So you build a software and now you need to test it. So how do you test it? You create test sets first. You create test sets, and upon that test sets, you will run your software, right? Here, test sets are nothing but evaluation sets. So you create an evaluation set, like if user gives this, the end result should be something. And if it is matching, then one test case will be passed. So those test sets are evaluation sets. You can create, or you can, if you have already, you can import. Evaluators are nothing but if you keep LLM as a judge, LLM itself will do the testing part also for you. So that's about evaluators. So that's about the explorer part, right? Let's go to data manager. So data manager is nothing but the arguments part. So the data that has been used for agents. So if I want to create an input argument, I'll go to input, I'll create an add property. If I have to give something to agent, if I have to send something to agent, how do I do that? So that will be your input argument. Okay, these where you give an input property to the agent, and then if you want to get something from the agent, how do you get that? So that will be your output property. Content will be by default because whatever you give, it'll gives you back a specific content, right? So that's why content is a by default argument for output. That's about the data manager part. If there are any issues, you'll see it here. This is like errors panel. And then when you want to publish the part, this is like your deployment configuration section. So these two are important parts. Now let's go to File Explorer and then get back to definitions. So here you can also see some specific tools. So we'll get back to this once we start writing something, write something in system and user prompt. Okay? So these are the other tools that are available for agents. So apps, if you are escalating, I'll tell what is escalation means. You can firstly observe that there are like these possibilities. You can include apps. Apps is nothing but UiPath apps, assets. If you have specific assets for agents, you can include those. If you have specific business rules, like if something happened, it needs to carry out. Let's say if user is asking a prompt, like get supplier related information for this partner for this supplier code or something, and agent doesn't know the supplier code, you write a business rule for that. If you don't know the rule, you need to carry out these actions. So that's what business rules means. And if you have connections, so for agent previously I built a connector, right, for generative AI. So that if you have any, you'll see under connections. Context is nothing but context surrounding, as I explained before, the database part. And then the processes. So as we in the last in the review also we discussed, right? So the future is both agentic and robotic. So agent is only a brain, but for a brain to do certain actions, it still needs a hand. It still needs a hand, right? This hand part is an RPA, right? So that's where you have this process. You can build your own processes, and then to carry out those actions, you anyway need processes, right? Those processes you can see here, and that may not be a process alone. It can be an other agent also. So you can see other agents also here. And then if you want to include queues, you can have queues, storage buckets, task trackless, and then triggers. So these are common. Okay. So these are the elements that are available within the agents, right? When you build an agent. Now let's create a simple agent, one more simple agent, which is a article summarizer or something like that. So what does this, let's go to, let's build a simple architecture for this. So this will be your use case. Assume you have a use case. And then what is your problem now? So whenever you want to study an article or something, that will be very huge. In this case, it is very small. Uh, let's say you want to do a research or something. Let's open this. This is just an abstract. If you open this, there will be a huge PDF. See, you have a lot of pages, and then it will be very hard to study all this text, right? So now this is a problem, and then you want to know the overview or summary of this entire article. So how do you do that? So for that, you can build an agent. Let's take a simple example. So this is your let's open it. This is your article. So this is your use case. Then what we need to do? First of all, we need to build an RPA. We need to build an RPA. And what this RPA has to do? You give an URL for that article, right? So it has to open browser and then navigate to that URL that you gave. And then whatever information that is available here, it has to read, right? So for that, you have something called get text in UiPath. So get text from that URL and then save it in a variable. That's it. So now from using UiPath, using RPA process, you got the text from this article. So I'm not building the RPA part now. So that's a simple one you can build by yourself. So instead of that, I'm directly passing, I'm going to directly pass the text. So let's say this is my prompt part. I'll copy this text. I'm using the first abstract itself. You can use the entire text in your when you're trying it out. So this is my article. So first you need to get this information into a variable, right? To pass to an agent. So that's why we're building an agent first. What was that? Yeah, here. We're building an RPA to get that text from that URL and then store it in a variable. Next, the agent part. So this is your agent. Summarizer agent, whatever it is. So what this do? It will take an argument, which is article text, and then with this article text, you need to tell agent to summarize the article and then give me in a certain format. So you'll give a prompt to summarize, and then you'll also tell it should be stored in a output variable, right? And that output variable can be summarized article text. So now you got the article text, right? So now later, once you got the summarized text, you can use it. You can use one more RPA to store the summarized text in any other Excel or something, or you can also uh, directly ask, or you can directly mention that store it and write that text in a Word document, simple one. So that like you'll open later and then study the summarized text of that article. So this will be our architecture for article summarizer. Okay, now let's build this. So the RPA part I'm not building. So it's a simple one. You can build it by yourself. But I'll show you how do you include that. How can you include that RPA into your process? So once you build an RPA solution in your studio, right? You publish it. No. So once you publish it, you'll get it in the processes here. Here you'll get that process, right? So you add that process to your orchestrator, right? So once you add it here in your agent, you will see under process section. Here you will see it. So you quickly go to tools and then you will see all automations. So LinkedIn web scraping, right? The one which I showed here, This can be your first part, first building part. So what you will do, you directly include this LinkedIn scraping tool as a RPA tool, right? That's how you include a UiPath process within the agent. So, okay, we discussed about the RPA part. Now let's come to summarizing agent. So how do you write prompt? So by default, you can define all your actions that you want agent to do step by step. Let's say in my case, in article summarizer case, it has to take an argument. So you have to write, you are an article summarizer agent. You will take an argument as an article text, and then you have to go through this article completely, and then you need to summarize it in these many characters. So these are step by steps that I want agent to carry out. right? So I want to clearly mention this in the form of a system prompt and then give it here. Apart from this, so if you're still, if you're still lazy to do that, you can always use ChatGPT, right? So let's say, give me system prompt for article summarizer. Hit on enter. It will automatically write for you. But you have to be very careful. You don't directly copy paste from here. Don't, if let's say this is my system prompt that is given by ChatGPT, don't directly copy paste it. You copy it, you paste it somewhere in document or something, and then study it. So you're an expert summarizer AI designed to read and analyze articles. Ask it to extract key points, main arguments. This is okay. Keep summarize objective. Use bullet points. Always verify that summarize. Yeah. So this is okay for me. Let's say it is doing something else here. So you asked for something and then it is doing some additional tasks also here. That is useless for your agent, right? So that's why you always have to study and then use this prompt. So in my case, I'm directly using it. I'll directly put it here. Okay. Now the user prompt, same. Can directly use the same query. Give me user prompt for article summarizer. Here it gave me this. Here I'll show you. So let's say if I copy paste this directly to user prompt. Here it is saying, please summarize the following article. Focus on key points, main arguments, essential. Format will be choose one bullet points. Format is okay. But article, it is saying paste the article text or URL here. But in my case, in our case, we discussed the architecture, right? In our case, we are not giving any URL to the agent. We're giving in the form of a text, right? Article text. So if I directly copy paste this prompt there, it will not work. It will fail asking for there is no URL given. So for me, I need only until here. I pasted it, but then I have to pass an argument as I have to pass article text as an argument to this agent, right? So that ChatGPT didn't do. So that's where you have to include. Please summarize the following article, and then following article is where. So you mention within our braces, you mention an argument. If I directly write article text, it is in red. And I think you already know why it is in red, because this argument is not created in agent. So how do you create an argument? You copy that, go to data manager, add property, add it, and now it becomes green. So that's how you create an argument. And then this is how I want the format to be. It should be bullet point, short paragraph, or executive summary. So this is fine for me. Okay. Now we given an argument, we wrote a prompt, and then it should be okay now. Let's see. I don't have any context. So if I want to add a tool here, let's say after the extraction is done, we store that output, and then that output stored should be uploaded in some other URL as we discussed here, right? So in this case, you create an RPA process again, which takes a text and then writes in a Word document and uploads it somewhere, and then that can be added as a tool here. Okay. So now I don't want anything. So it can do, the model itself can summarize the uh, text, right? Okay, now the context part, right? So let's say, as we discussed before, it has to check the existing DB, and then it has to read context from that instead of a general data availability, right? So it should not do a general web search and then get the information. It has to search in context and then get. So for that, you need to add context, right? So how do you add a context? Go back again, click on add context and create new. It'll go to index page, right? Just like how we discussed before. So you have to add a context. So for me, I don't need a context, but for you, I'm creating article context. So as I told you before, data source, storage bucket, right? So storage bucket is nothing but a database. It's not a database in UiPath, but for you to understand, assume this as a database. And where do you have that storage bucket? In shared folder. Don't get confused with this. I'm just creating, you see here, right? Under shared folder, storage buckets, I'm creating an index here, right? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm selecting, okay, this will go above. I'll select existing one itself, separate data or something, and then click on save. So that will be my index supply data. So I pointed out storage bucket, right? So sorry, this is not one. This is my newly created context. And then storage bucket to this will be supply data. So here, if I upload something, that will be a link will be created via index to that storage bucket. And then that index you will add it here. That's a context. You can see here article context. I can let me add it. It's a context. So that's how you add your custom information to make agent use that database instead of uh, the outside or the general data from web. Okay? Let's say it is not able to, with all the tools and then context, it is not still not able to do anything. That's where you add an escalation, right? So how do you add an escalation? You can add escalation. This will be your UiPath app. You can quickly describe like if there is an H2 or something, create escalation. And then this will be your, you have to give a prompt, you have to create an app. So click on open orchestrator. So I might explain you a lot of tools in one session. If you are new, don't worry. You always have your Path Academy. I'll just quickly show you. What is an app, right? So if you have those questions, go to your Path Academy and then you can see courses here available. You can open this and then there will be a clear and then hands-on also for each of this tool. You can practice and then you'll get a good understanding here. So I don't have an app now. If I create an app, I can use that as an escalation. With this example here, I'll explain you. Let's finish this exercise, right? Okay, so now we got to know what is escalation. How do you create a context? How do you involve tools? As a tool, as I told you, you can involve already built agent here. So let's say your task is little complex. In your article summarization itself, you want a specific other task. You need to get a specific summary of that article, and then you have to focus more on that specific content. So in that case, you can build one more agent and then invoke it here. Or let's say this article is there, right? So you need to check plagiarism for that. So you can build one more agent for that, and then you can invoke that here in agents. And if you have if you want to run a tool, as I mentioned before, you can involve an automation also. Activities. So these are some of existing connectors that are already available. If you remember before, I used GenAI activities, right? So if you have, so these are ServiceNow, Salesforce, these are some of the organization related tools which are commonly used. So for those, you already have a direct activity. You can directly use this. For example, if I want to, after extraction is done, I want to send a message in Teams, right? I don't have to build an RPA to manually open Teams and then write this text there and then send. Click on send. I can directly use Microsoft Teams and then use already existing activities, right? So that's are the activities. And for now, we have these, and in future, we will see a lot of other packages. So mostly you'll use GenAI activities, web reader, web search, and web summary. So I can directly use web summary and then get that article and then pass that to web summary and then get an output. But let's see how it will do without summary. So API workflows, these are something which is in preview, so I can ignore for now. Okay, with that, we create an argument, we build the first agent, the context of code. Here it asking me article text. So I've copied this, right? I'll paste it here. This may not be the entire article text, but for testing, I'm using the first paragraph. So this is my input article text. You can see how the prompting happened. And then here you can see the output. So I told I formatted the output also, right? So it should be in either bullet points, short paragraph, or an executive summary. So it choose bullet points, and you can copy this. This is the output, right? So as I told before, how do you check? I mean, where this output will be stored? So there is an automatically created argument called content. So if you can use this content anywhere in your studio web or something, and then make use of it. Okay. Now let's copy this, and you can see. So the study investigates how destination, personality, self-concurrence, functional fit, influence stories, something. So for this entire text, this was the summary. You may think it is almost the same paragraph, but if you have a whole 10 or 20 pages document, with for that, it might still summarize into simple paragraph. Then you'll get to know the difference. So I suggest you can try this by yourself. So this is the user-friendly output. If you click here, you can see the metadata also. So let's say you want to, you need other information also from this, apart from content. So this is a JSON. So you can deserialize this JSON and then get a start time, end time. Mostly you don't need that, but if you want to use, you can use it. Okay, that's about the agent output. And then we discussed about the content. And so let's say you want to know the, so now you ran the your first agent, right? You want to publish it, right? So you can click on publish and then it will be published. For that, let's go to this one. So for agent, the property, if you already aware of UiPath Studio, if you drag an activity, right? I'm showing you example here because this is something which you already know, so you can compare and then you can learn it fast. So as an activity, you have some properties here, right? So similarly, when you have agent, you have system prompt, and for that also you have properties. What are these properties? So agent, as I previously told, these are LLM powered, right? So you have ChatGPT. You have ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT is an end application. So what is behind ChatGPT? An LLM. That's called a foundation LLM. So these all these generative AI tools will be built on a foundation model, which is nothing but LLM. So that LLM can be any of the versions LLM. Like it can be GPT-3, it can be Claude, it can be from Gemini model, right? So for agents, the backend will be a model. So here it is using GPT-4 foundation model. You can see other models also. If you think, because there are specific things that an LLM is, what do you say, an LLM is famous for. For let's say Claude is famous for some specific task. So and GPT-4 is like a general LLM from OpenAI, which can carry out general tasks, right? So even if you have a specific case, you can use Claude, and then if you have general case, you can directly use GPT-4, and then temperature and max tokens per response. So this is like how many tokens you want the reply to be, and temperature is like how different the output should be. Okay, and then health score. So for these given prompts and then tools, context and evaluations, it will quickly calculate the health. Let's see how good my agent is. It's like 54%. And then, so if you want to increase this percentage, it will also give you the suggestions. If you just scroll down, so length is poor, data set is not provided. So if I give this, and then if I give this and then click on recalculate, it will recalculate and then it will increase the overall score. So my score is little good. So it's okay. Now the output part. So once you close this, right? So this is how it looks. Okay, this is how it looks, right? So you want to see the previous run output. So this is where you can click on this, and then you can quickly download logs and then check. So we click here. These are the overall logs, and then this will be your execution trace. So execution trace is again nothing but the step by step that agent carried out. So you gave it. So with for agent run, you gave the input. So it started. It used LLM call with that input, and then it gave the output back. So this might look simple, but when you are creating a complex agent, you need to trace it. You need to trace each step, right? Then you will see the need for this. And then again, this is autopilot. If you want to improve your agent upon this, I can still say autopilot to do this. That's about autopilot. And yeah, that's about the first the dashboard elements that are available. And then that's how you, I mean, different things that you use to build an agent. Tomorrow we'll build one more agent. That will be our first agent that will involve a context, and then we'll see how you use this agent in your studio web. So that will be your end-to-end agent or agentic automation, let's call it. Okay. So last 5 minutes, I'll take questions. If you have any queries, you can put it in chat.
Hi, now we open the floor for Q&A. If you have any doubts, feel free to post it on the chat box. Or if you want to like ask the question, you can use the icon, raise your hand. I can unmute you and you can go ahead with your question. Feel free, either way is fine, so feel free.
I already see a question like, is that all free of cost? No, there will be a cost associated with agent, and then if you are using in enterprise for you to build a use case for Agent Hack India, it will be free. You'll have community edition. Upon that you can build. But in enterprise, you have costs associated for each of these tools. If you have more questions, you can put it in chat.
Okay. Before we move on, I'll stop the recording, Krishna.
Sure.